So this document we discuss on the day, and now if I just see what is present in the live, so this live thing is done. Now I will tell you some. This is done. This is done. This is done. This is done. Now we'll talk about some rest of the things. Let's see one by one. Okay. So first of all, I will tell you. Let me mention here. Done. And this is done. Okay. And now let me talk about this one. First of all, let's say annotation. Okay. Let's talk about annotation, then view state, etc. Let's complete this, and then at the end, I will tell you this one, the project planning documents by which you can work very confidently in your real-time project and understand like how this companies works and all. I'm going to show you or explain you that how actually these projects are conducted, and it will be a good kind of learning things for you, because until you get a job, this is not possible for you to understand this, because it only comes into the picture when you get a job. and and when you actually go to interview, then at that time, when you go to interview at that time, so here uh, we are we are we are going to see such kind of various questions in the interview. So in short, in the interview they are going to ask before job, and without job you are not going to get that point. So it's kind of a uh, deadlock situation, okay, that many people face in the market. But the benefit which I'm planning for you guys is that I will be sharing my previous real-time project documents understanding for you, by which you can actually understand that how this market works, how we do the projects. And by the way, for that I have taken the permission from my customer also, where as per his as per his instructions, I have removed whatever to be removed, and I have kept whatever he told me to keep. And this way I collected this document for you. Okay, so you'll get a good idea that how this market works and how the things happen, etc. Okay, so let's proceed one by one. Today's session may be around 1 to 2 hours. Okay, so let's see. First agenda I'm going to tell you, that is going to be related to the activity. So let me just tell you point number one, that is view state. Okay, very uh, um, famous, I would say, a very famous topic, view state. And this view state topic actually is something which many companies, or let's say many developer interviewers ask for sure. So the way we have one problem, so the way we have uh, problem in Apex class is like, for example, 100 plus SOQL query, right? These things, you know, that 150 plus DMS, these things, you know, right? So this kind of problems or such kind of issues in Visual Force page problem in VFP is view state. Okay, such kind of problem in Visual Force page is view state. So let us try to understand now how this view state works and all the stuffs one by one. So before that, I'm going to tell you some steps. So just try to understand that what actually is the meaning of the size of the Visual Force page. Then I will tell you the view state thing. So I'm going to proceed first of all to my Salesforce environment. So just give 1 minute. I'm going to proceed for my Salesforce environment. So let's say I'm going to click on any Visual Force page, and let's say click on setup. Just come down, then build, then develop, then Visual Force pages. Open any Visual Force page, no problem. And we can use any Visual Force page, no problem. For every Visual Force page, it will work. Let's say any Visual Force page I'm opening. Okay. Now see, in this Visual Force page, this is the Visual Force page I'm having. Okay, and this is having the connection with this controller. You can see here. Let me open that class also. Copy Apex class. Apex class, and then controllers M. So let me click on M. Click on this extension. Okay, and it's also having some information, etc., whatever information is. Okay, variable, whatever. We have seen this kind of class before. Okay, now let me run this Visual Force page and let me show you where the picture comes for the view state. Okay, now please note that here, if you see at the base, it will show you one section where you can see Visual Force page name and the name of the Apex class, and the third value will be view state. Here you can actually see the view state of your page. So now, first of all, this will not be by default available. This kind of section may not be available on your page. Okay, so for that, what we are going to do is this. First of all, I am going to tell you what setup you need. Go to your name and go to my setting, how to enable this. Okay, then after that, go to personal and then go to advanced user details. Then click on edit. Okay, and just come down and come down and come down and see. Select this option. No, not this one. 1 minute. This one, development mode. So if you select this option, then only that list, see whatever you can see here, see this one. Then only you can see this kind of thing here where you can do direct development without going to different page. You can do here and you can change immediately. You can see here, for example, say I'm changing the name instead of new company. Okay, see, I'm just writing new company and let's say lots of columns. Okay, and now just Control S and see what's going to happen. So you can see immediate change. Okay, this also one way by which you can do programming, and you can even change the Apex class, but that can only get activated when you enable this option, development mode. Okay, that is point number one. And second, if you want to see the view state, then select this option. So these two things generally we always keep on as a developer in the real-time projects. These are two important things. Okay, and then after this you come to this page. Now see, if I click on view state and if I open this folder, the folder is nothing but my Visual Force page name. It's showing me the state, and below that component tree. Open the state, controllers. So see, it's showing me controller, expressions, internal, Okay, all the information is showing to me. Okay, and component tree, whatever. And now here this page is showing, this visual page is showing that from because of the controller. So, one thread is giving so, okay, so you can see now here that this controller is having some size. Look at this size. Okay, then the visual force page, whatever you created in that visual force page, whatever values you're having, this will be having some kind of size. So the total size of the visual force page, some kind of internal storage, okay, some kind of internal component tree which you are using, or let's say components you're using, so everything combining together, if you see, is 2.38 kb. Okay, now when you have a very big visual force page and hundreds of tags and lots of things, then in this visual force page, please note that if the size is more than 135 kb, then here if the size goes more than 135 kb, then your visual force page will start giving errors. It will give view state error. Okay, so now let me write the definition for you. So you can say definition. So when size of visual force page exceeds more than exceeds than 135 kb, then this will start throwing view state error. Okay, it will start throwing view state error. Okay, and now that's it. This much only you need to tell to your interviewer. The next question he will be asking immediately, how to avoid such errors. Okay, these are all interview questions, very important interview question. This is interview question, what is view state error, and this is interview question. So let me just write here. Or what kind of errors you faced in your project on Visual Force page. They will not tell you directly view state error. They will just ask you what kind of errors you faced. There is only one type of error you can get, view state error, which is their intention. So say view state error. And if they're asking about Apex class, then you have long list, SOCL or TML, or and then writing the SOSL, whatever we already discuss about these things. So that's a different story. But in the Visual Force page, only this problem you state, and how to avoid such error. Now this is important question. See, these are some very good solutions in that. If, and by the way, if you can observe this view state error, you can clearly understand it's not only about the visual force page values, but it's also about the controllers, right? That you clearly observed, it's also about controllers. So that controller is nothing but this, right? So it means data of visual force page, or let's say the components of visual force page, and also the controllers coming from here, whatever controller we are using, everything is getting impacted. I hope you understood that. So it means both are dependent. Okay, means like the calculation will be done combined together. Okay, so please note here that how to avoid such visual force page, such errors. So please note the variables we declare in Apex class needs to be declared with transient keyword. It means whenever you are going to declare any kind of keyword in Apex class, then declare it with a transient keyword. So what will happen, I'll tell you. So transient means and before that, one more thing I would like to tell you, which will be easy for you to make this transient concept better. Or like, let's say why there is a property of this kind of view state error or such kind of issues are present. So I'll tell you that also. So for example, so see, uh, first of all, uh, before that, I'll also tell you why, what is view state. Okay, this is also interview question. So I'll tell you first of all what is view state. Okay, see, suppose this is your user. Pay attention. These all statements you need to repeat. These all statements you need to repeat as it is in your interviews. So this is your user, and let's say this user opened one page, on Visual Force page, for example. And here we have first name, here you have last name, and here you have submit button. Okay, now suppose your user, let's say for example, perform some kind of activity here, let's say pressed on some kind of button, etc. Okay, or perform some kind of activity, and now the connection went to Apex class, that is server. This is client, this is server. So because of some activity by user, now he entered the data, he let's say pressed on the data, etc. And then connection went to server. And then when connection will come back, or let's say when you will come back from server, then at that time, whatever information user entered, ideally we should keep that information still present on the Visual Force page. Just because it came from server and again showing the blank page, this is something which is not actually advisable. So Salesforce will do that. So this used to happen in older time, let's say earlier time, maybe around maybe 90s somewhere, when the internet was new. But now this is not good process, good practice. So every platform will do what? Once the connection will come from server, then it will show the same value to the user again instead of blank thing. For that, there is an internal hidden variable called as view state. A hidden variable. We don't need to worry about this. This is managed by Salesforce. This is internal to Salesforce. We don't need to declare that also. There is an internal hidden variable called as view state. This variable will store all the information in that particular form. So whatever form we create, whatever field and everything, so here that all information will be in that variable. And now if this data is getting more than 135 KB size, then error comes. Means the storage which we are storing, if it is going more than 135 KB, then we are going to get error. Okay, so pay attention. By default, web pages are actually in a stateless position. Means you enter some data. Let's say I'm adding here, let's say name Shekhar, let's say last name. So enter here, and I pressed on save button, control go to server, and it will come back. So by default, web pages are stateless. All the values will be wiped out. SG, whatever value added, everything will be wiped out. Okay, and here let's say for example we have a button. So by default, all values will be wiped out. This is how web application or internet works. And this is a bad experience. This is not a good experience. So Salesforce will do what? And also in .NET also, this is technically available, .NET Java. So it will do what? It will have one variable called as view state, a hidden variable. This will store all the values entered by user, that is Shekhar and Gadeva, and it will store the value, and then once it will come back from server, then it will show the same value again to the user, then the blank thing. This is internally managed by Salesforce. We don't need to do anything. But in this process, suppose the size of the view state becomes more than 135, then it comes error. So by default, web pages works in the stateless manner, and still Salesforce wants to make it stateful. And this is possible by using the hidden variable view state. It will save all the data which user entered, and once the control comes back from server, it will again show all the data to user. For that we use hidden variable view state, which is totally managed by Salesforce. We don't need to do anything here. But suppose the size of that variable or the size of view state goes more than 135 KB, then error. So this is actually the background of view state. Okay, so now how to avoid these errors? So what we can do actually in this case, how to avoid the errors? So please note that here you need to understand what in view state. So this, what is view state? So generally web pages works in stateless mode. It won't save any state. State means data, you can say, after coming from server. Okay, to avoid this, Salesforce uses view state variable. This is a, let's say, uses a variable called as view state, which is a hidden variable which saves all data, or I would say state. There is another word for data called as state, by the way, in programming language. So all data entered by user, and when control comes back from server, it shows the data on screen. Okay, this is totally managed by Salesforce. Okay, this is totally managed by Salesforce. You don't need to worry about this like how to manage, how to save. This we never do. This is not our area. This will be totally done by Salesforce. But the problem is, if you are increasing the size of your page more than 135 KB, then it makes a problem. Okay, so here this hidden variable size must not be more than 135 KB. That is our responsibility. Rest responsibility is not yours. It's taken by Salesforce. Okay, so then this is, if the size goes more than 135, then you state error. And now the main thing, how to avoid such errors. So first of all, whenever you are declaring any variable in the Apex class, use transient keyword. Okay, so here the variable declared in Apex class need to be declared in transient keyword. Please note, like this, by the way, and please note, this is to be done for those data which are not important and having no connection to user display. So please note that in the Visual Force page, let's say for example, we can have, let's say maybe 5 fields. Okay, in the Visual Force page, and here in the Apex controller, for performing my business logic, etc. Okay, let's say 100 fields possible, because I'm doing calculation, this and that. So if I feel that some fields are not necessary, I don't need that data, those are not important, if the page is submitted, then I don't need such kind of data, then in this case you can do one thing, you can declare this variable by transient. So in this case, view state variable will not focus on this variable. These variables will be avoided. These variables data will not be taken into count, and view state will not save the data of these variables. Okay, so from from these apex variables, we need to choose those variables data of which is not needed to us once connection goes to server. So once it's a server, we don't need the data. There is no need of this kind of information to store. Only 2-3 fields we need. Remaining fields are not necessary again and again. Once we hit to server and once data go to the server, again we don't need that field. Then such kind of fields you can make it transient. So what will happen once you submit the data? So what will happen? Suppose I have this Visual Force page where I have first name, last name, and then button, and here then I have my apex class. Okay, then let's say the data went to apex class. From the apex class it went to the database. That's it. I don't need now such kind of data. There are some 20-30 fields which I don't need. So once the control will come back, then I don't care about those fields whether the value is there or not in the apex class. So when you're not worried about those fields, then why you're wasting the memory of view state by keeping them as a normal fields? Make them as a transient. So the view state will never save such kind of variables data which you don't need, which is not important, which you don't want to save, and this way here lots of memory can be saved. So so here uh, so for these apex variables we need to choose from this apex variable we need to choose those variables data of which is not needed to us, and once connection goes to server, and view state variable will never save data of those variables of those transient variables, and this way memory can be saved. Okay, there was some network problem, but now I think it is on. Fine. So everyone can hear me now. All fine. Audio video fine now. So there was some network problem. Is it fine now? Can you hear me? Okay, fine. So let's continue. Okay, now see. So now in this case, those non so important variables will be rejected by view state when there is no need why to save, and this way data will be saved. So just simply answer in the interview that use transient keyword whenever we don't want to save the data of such variable. Second, avoid saving lots of data in variables. Better use SOQL and make query and get data dynamically. This is one more way by which we can avoid this kind of problem. So instead of saving so much data, because see, when actually your page is hitting to 135, definitely it's a serious problem. It means you are saving so many unwanted things in your page is saving lots of things. Definitely that's going to be a problem, that's the issue. So here the better solution for this is actually, instead of saving lots of things, you dynamically call the SQL query and get the data. That's it. This is one more way. Third way is that divide, let's say if Visual Force page is too big, then divide the page into different, or let's say divide the entire Visual Force page into different pages. Okay, and please note that here, suppose you are having a page with lots of logic, then you can do one thing. This logic you can divide and you can show in different page. This logic you can divide and show in different page. Don't try to mix everything together and increase the size of your Visual Force page. This is one more technique by which we can avoid if your page is too much big. Okay, and one more thing you need to remember, that please note, view state is related to only those VF pages where we have used apex form tags. Why? Because you know very well, we already discussed that if you have any kind of field button, then you must use apex form. Okay, so this view state comes only when you have form tag. Okay, at that time only it's going to perform like this, adding the field, adding the information. So if they ask you the question that because of which tag actually the view state topic is connected or view state concept is connected, then say apex form, because if you want to use fields, buttons, etc., then you must use apex form, otherwise your page will get error. And when you have apex form, then the view state concept or the feature comes into the picture. Okay, so till this point everyone clear? This is sufficient for answering any interview questions related to view state. And just remember this, watch this video one more time and just answer these questions. That's it. View state topic you can easily uh, reply in terms of interviews. Everyone clear? View state error is clear. What is view state? Why view state is necessary? Because of the problem of websites, they don't store the data, so Salesforce wants to store the data. And what is the view state variable? What is the limit of that? 135 KB and etc. Everyone is clear? Okay, now here and here, so see here, this is the transient keyword. Instead of saving like this, integer client code, instead of saving this, save like this. Simple, just add transient. That's it. There is nothing apart from that in terms of transient. Just add a keyword and that's it. So whatever apex class you are having, just that keyword. Okay, and by the way, one more thing you can just remember, which is not part of our syllabus, but still I want to tell you. So there was one recent interview done for one of my students. So they asked they ask that they ask that uh, that is something a kind of question which they ask. Assume by I assume I don't want to do all about things and still want to avoid error. Okay, the interviewer is asking that I don't want all these things, I don't want to do that. Okay, I don't want to about these things. The student answer all these things. Then he said, okay, fine, all good, but I don't want to do all these things. Still I want to avoid my error, I don't want to use that error. Then please note, then then what to do. So you remember there is a concept in Salesforce called as Java script remoting, where will not have the scenario like a kind of visual force page and forms and etc. We are going to do this on all in the JavaScript and in the server side. So this is something, actually one solution you can just remember. It's not a part of syllabus, so I will not be able to explain you much more on that. Let's see in future, if I get the chance I will also take any kind of session on that also. But remember that JavaScript remoting is a technique by which you can avoid the load on your visual force page and do lots of things on the server side. Okay, so that's also one solution you can do if they are asking you this question. Otherwise don't say this answer, otherwise they will start asking you, then okay, then tell me what is JavaScript remoting, and then we'll stop. Okay, so give this answer only if they are saying I don't want all these things, then only give the answer. Okay, so JavaScript remoting is one more concept by which you can avoid this. Okay, fine. So this is the view state error. And now the next point, so let me just see where is that page. Where is that bonus page? Bonus page. Hmm. So, so live and done. Distant. Okay, now let's go for the annotations. So let me tell you one useful topic called as useful annotations. Annotations in Salesforce. Okay, let's see. And there is a question, what is the function of transient keyword? So I think you did not heard this properly, so we explained a couple of times. The benefit of transient keyword is it will not store the data in view state of those variables. Okay, I request watch the video one more time because we have done detailed discussion on that. So watch the video one more time, what will be the benefit of transient keyword. Okay, and then you ask me if you're still having any doubt. So annotations in Salesforce. So till this point we have seen many such things called as annotation. So please note that anything starts with at the rate something, okay, is called as annotations in Salesforce. They are reserved keywords in Salesforce which gives us which give us special results in code. Okay, I'll tell you. First of all, can you tell me, or can you give me the names of any kind of annotations you have used till this point? Yes, very good. One answer is future. Correct. We have seen this. Apart from that, you saw anything? Any another annotation? Yeah, very good. At the rate is test. Correct. Good. These two annotations you have seen. Now I'm going to tell you some more annotation to you, their usage, and if they ask you in the interview that what are the annotations you have used, etc., you can easily answer this interview question confidently. You can give the answer to the interviewer. So I'm going to tell you one by one about those annotation. So future annotation that you know very well. So this future annotation actually is going to be helpful whenever actually you are going to perform some kind of let's say asynchronous work, etc. Okay, so whenever we So let me just mention here. So this is already known to you. The use of feature annotation to identify methods that are executed asynchronously. When we specify a feature, the method executes when Salesforce had available resource, means as per Salesforce availability, means uh, it works as per Salesforce. Yeah, very good. Correct answer. One more annotation. One student gave the answer in the chat box. Salesforce availability. Okay, so it depends on when Salesforce server is available, having time, then it will do that. Methods with the feature annotation must be static method and can only return void type, means it will not return anything else. So please note that can future method return something? This interview question. This was asked in Delhi, or I would say India. Okay, this was an interview question asked for Flipkart for one of my students. So the answer is no. It should be void. Okay. Uh, and next is to make a method in class execute asynchronously, define a method with feature annotation, that you know. Okay, this you know. Is test when any apex test class we want to declare, we use this annotation. Okay, one more thing, please note, instead of so for test class we use @is test, but there is a function in the test class, then for that we use a keyword. What is that? For functions, what is the keyword we use in test class? Yeah, very good. Test method. Yes. Instead of test method, we can also use @is test before function name. We can use this, okay? But generally we don't do this because we get confused and all these things. But please note, you can also use this keyword, okay? For functions also. And that you know what is the meaning of the is test. Everything we discuss in that topic. Okay. Next. Now let me talk about next annotation. Now there are some interesting annotation for you. So now there is one more annotation, and this annotation is this. In the apex class, test class, when you mention like this, then at the beginning mention see all data true. See all data true. So what will happen? This is to grant test classes and test method access to all the data in the organization, including pre-existing data that the test did not create or the test class did not create. So here, before that, I will just tell you the answer which is given by the user, student, test setup. So this is used for those or that function which we use in test class, where we what we do there, where we where we what we do there, what we do in that for such kind of function. We have seen this thing. Yes, very good. We create the data. Very good. We create the data. Yes, for testing purpose we create temporary data for testing purpose, because A, using data from apex is not allowed. Sorry, using data from database is not allowed by default. Second thing, creating own data is called as best way of using data in test class. If you are using the data from existing data, this is called as bad practice. So that is the reason we should use test setup function and use our test data, because by default it's not allowed. But suppose you want to allow, then go for the fourth annotation, is test see all data, then you can see the data. Okay, everyone clear? then you can fetch the data from your database and work on that and perform the activity. Everyone clear? Is that clear? What is the benefit of what is the benefit of see all data true? So you can fetch the data from your existing data and use that in the test class. But please note, this is bad practice, because this will give load to the test class performance, as it takes time to make all data available to test class, and this hampers the performance. So the advice is given as a best practice, avoid this. In a very rare case, if you are using this, it's okay. Okay, so using this in rare case is fine. Otherwise, Salesforce would have never given this kind of option. Salesforce give this option to use in some very rare case. We are using unnecessary again and again. You want to just you want to create one, you want to test one account object, you want to test something, and instead of creating your account record, which you can do very simply, just you can account A equal to new, then account, and then A dot name equal to IBM. Now just this takes only 1 minute to write, that's it, and then perform insert A, that's it, done. So instead of using creating your own data, you are fetching from the existing system and making the use of see all data and wasting the time and loading the test class is a bad practice. So in a very rare case, use this. Otherwise, such kind of data we can easily create and then use it. So please note, follow this practice. Okay, so go for this kind of scenario, avoid using see all data too. Next annotation. Now there is one more interesting annotation, that is something which is going to help you whenever actually you want to use any kind of, let's say, private variable and etc. Okay, so what is the meaning of that? I'll tell you. See, by default, whenever actually you are going to work on the data and information in Apex class, then you can only get this information when it is a public uh, keyword. Let's say there is a field called as, or variable called as client number, or client transaction number. Okay, now in this case you should be writing your Apex class. If your Apex class is having the private annotation, okay, then in this case it will not be allowed to your uh, it will not be allowed to your Apex class to fetch that kind of data. So what is the meaning of that? I'll tell you. So see, first of all, let me just show you one. First of all, let me show you one option for you. So let's say my main class is something like this: public, then class, main class A. Okay, and in that I have private, static, integer, client, code, something like this, or private, static, void, get deal info, function, some kind of code. So we have seen the topic called as access specifier. Now tell me, such kind of private things will be available outside of this class? Will they be available? Yes or no? Correct. It will not be available. Very good. Now, if they are not available outside of this class because they are private entities, then definitely if you want to access this kind of things in test class, do you think they will be available? If you want to access them in the test class, do you think they will be available in the test class? That is again outside of this Apex class? Yes, very good. It's not available because it will now be available never. Whether test class, normal class, these are the private things never available. So if you want to make these things available, so in above code, the variable and function won't be available outside of the class as well as in test class also. No way you can access this kind of things. Okay. Now to make this available, to make this available in test class, we can make change as below. So what we can do, if you want this kind of things should be available in test class, when the test class is trying to access the data and you want to make this available in the test class, then you need to add one additional annotation for that. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to make it as a test visible. You just need to make as a test visible. So whatever class you're writing, before that just write is test visible. Just give 1 second. Now see, so what we need to do now here, just use this. So what we need to do, just use this keyword, okay, this annotation. So how, see now here. So I'm going to copy this class, entire class, okay, copy, paste here, and just use this here and use this here and done. That's it. So now these two things you can easily use in Apex class also. Is that clear? Everyone clear? So this is something which we use for accessing the private entities in the test class, whether you can say the private function or you can say private variable. Is that clear? So this is good. So this is one more way or one more annotation which you can find useful, because for the private entities you will not be getting the access in the test class. Then in this case use test visible, and then you can use these variables in the test class also. Okay, fine. So this is one more additional annotation, and I think then apart from that, yeah, I think that is these are the important annotations we wanted to discuss. So it's all fine. So now once this is done, so before we move to next topic, can someone tell me that till this point whatever we saw, everyone is clear? Everyone clear till this point whatever we saw? Any question in any annotation? So they will be asking you max to max 1 or 2 words in annotation. What annotation do you know? Explain any 2 3 annotation, and you can easily explain it because we have seen this kind of thing here. So it will be very easy for you to explain, not a problem. So that will not be an issue for you. Fantastic. Okay, so now if you are clear with this annotation concept also, then we'll do one thing now. We will now proceed for understanding another interesting concept that will be uh, helpful for you when actually I think there is a question. Yes, correct. This is used in the test class. Correct. This we can use in the test class. This for test class. Okay, fine. Okay, so now there is one more topic we are going to see, that how actually we can take the benefit of the wrapper class. So before that, let me tell you the background. So listen carefully. Then I will show you something on the screen or explain something on the screen. Whenever in Salesforce, you are going to create any kind of class or any kind of code, then please note that in this scenario, either your class can save, um, or let's say for example you are creating in a class, then in that class you can save some kind of variable from that particular object, and this kind of basic information. That's it. That is what actually you are going to save in your class. Let's say a variable, any kind of field, and that's it. But suppose you you want to actually have a combination of multiple things. For example, let's say you want to save such kind of information which is actually having different combinations. So in let's say I'm writing one class on account object, and based on account object, so max what I can do, let's say I can use some kind of integer variable in that class, and let's say I can use some kind of string variable in that class, etc. Okay, but when actually you go for the wrapper class, then wrapper class will help you to actually have a kind of combination of one account record, or let's say one record of, let's say for example contact record, or let's say for example one record of checkbox, etc. So it will give you a kind of different types of data together. In short, whenever actually you want to perform any kind of such combination of data, where will be the data in a class will be of various types, it will be having record of another object, etc., then you will be having wrapper class. So the definition you should be giving in interview is, if they ask what is wrapper class or when you use this, then please note you can say that when actually we want to use such a combination of data where data is coming from different objects, data is coming from different objects, and such combination we want to, like such combination we want to present or show as a single entity, as a single variable, where we will have, it's a kind of container which will have kind of different types of object data and collection data, etc. Then we can go for the wrapper class concept. So for example, let me show you now by diagram how exactly we can have this. So see this diagram. Just assume this is, for example, one container. Let's say this is your integer variable. Okay, pay attention. This is important to understand what exactly wrapper class is going to give you. Suppose this is an integer variable, so you can have integer value here. Suppose this is a string variable, then you're having string value here. Okay. If you're using, let's say, for example, any apex class, then in that you have some kind of integer variable, some kind of string variable. That's it. And this will be called as a container. Apex class will have string, integer, this, that, boolean, double. That's it. But if suppose I want to combine one account record, let's say one integer variable, one contact record, one string variable, and then represent them as a single container, then there is no way in Salesforce to do such kind of thing. This is all a kind of different types of data. You can see one account record and one integer record having no connection. Integer is a primary record, and let's say primary types of data, and account is a, or let's say it's an object type of data. So all are different: account, contact, integer, string. How they can be combined together? But this is possible if you want to combine them together and represent as a single value, single entity, then it's called as wrapper class. For example, here I will give an example. Let's say here we have a table. In that table, Suppose I want to show here integer data, and here I want to show the record of account object. Now you can clearly understand that both are completely different types of data, right? So here, now if I want to make a query and on server, then in that query, whatever results I'm getting, that should have integer data also and account data also. Just imagine, just understand the problem which we are facing. See, this table is coming from database. That database is having, or let's say whatever we are doing on in the Apex class, at the end we are making one query, we are generating the data, and that data is coming here, string, integer, etc. Okay, so just imagine what kind of data we can use here. It's completely mixed data, string, integer, account records, all this kind of different data we are clubbing together, and that is something very strange or rare. For this kind of rare situations, as there is no such facility available in Salesforce to combine this kind of different type of data together, then we have the wrapper class concept, where you can have a container, you can show them as a container, where you can have one account record also, you can have contact record also, you can have integer value also, you can have string values also. All this will be combined together and shown as a single entity, single unit. That is the reason we use wrapper class whenever actually we are having a kind of different sets of data to be processed. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you the definition, understand the definition, and then we will proceed to the next level. So please note, again telling you that wrapper class is like a kind of container. It's again a class. It's a class only, but it's like a kind of container class, which actually he's having the collection of data coming from various objects, and here we can actually use this kind of wrapper class for storing data of different objects and very primitive data types and etc. All these things we can actually perform there. Okay, so I'll tell you all the things in terms of definition. Now just pay attention one by one. It is something which many people don't answer in the interview. Wrapper class, popular interview question. So please note, this is same like Apex class, but but more popularly called as container class. Okay, more popularly called as a container class. The main reason why we use wrapper class, it's becoming some different meaning. So let me just write wrapper class meaning. The main reason why we use wrapper class is we want to collect data, or let's say records of different objects together. This is not possible in Salesforce by any data type. Why? Let's say example integer. Now let's example of list. Now can a list contain data of account object and also contact object and also opportunity object together? Is it possible? One list containing account, contact, opportunity, all possible, or map or set? So yes, very good. So list containing records of, or let's say one list containing records of account and contact object is impossible. It's impossible. So this is a limitation. Let's say in some rare cases when you want to combine process data or instance of multiple objects, it's impossible. And here, that's why wrapper class became popular, because in such cases where we cannot use these kind of things. Okay, now next thing, when we need wrapper class, what is the use of that? Okay, so for example, we want to show a table which is going to have data from account object, let's say object 1, I will use general word object 1 and object 2 both. In such cases you use wrapper class, because here you are going to mix the data from multiple objects together. Okay, next, this is one use of wrapper class. Second thing here, that you are going to process totally different set of data together. Let's say for example, one account record, then one uh, let's say account record, then one integer variable, then etc. So these are all completely different type of data. You want to process them together. In this case, you can use wrapper class. Okay, these are the rare scenarios. Especially this line is very important. Here only we use actually the wrapper class, and the main benefit is we can here have collection of records of multiple objects and save it. Okay, so now before we move towards code, tell me, till this point, anyone is having any kind of question? Anyone is having any kind of question? Just focus on the line of collection. When you compare this collection things, then you will have no doubt or no confusion in wrapper class. So just go for the collection example which I told. Then you will have no doubt about wrapper class. Is that clear, everyone? So just try to imagine, I want to show account and contact record together. You know very well there is no collection which can help you in this case. There is no collection which can help you. Okay, good. So now if you are clear, then it's time to see the code. Time to see the code and time to understand that how a table, by the way, please note, that whenever actually you are going to write any kind of whenever you are actually going to write any kind of wrapper class, then please note that the main reason why you will be using wrapper class is, as I said, the only that reason where actually you are the main reason will be only that actually where you are actually having some requirements, and you want to show the data of multiple objects. Otherwise we don't use wrapper class also. Okay, so remember this, that how we can perform the wrapper class things and etc. Okay, so I hope everyone is clear, and now I will show you one wrapper class. Okay, and in the interview also they ask what is the like, they will be asking you this kind of questions in different way. Okay, so tell me, like, when last time you use wrapper class, then simply say we wanted to show data from multiple objects together, and it's not possible in Salesforce to do this, to show the data of multiple objects together. So there was only solution we had, that is wrapper class, and we have taken the benefit of wrapper class. That's it. He will not ask anything more than that. That question done. Okay, so use this kind of techniques, and that's it. And there is a question, how often we use this? Very rarely, very rarely. Maybe 1,000 times you are going to write apex class, 1,000 apex class, then out of that maybe one class will be a wrapper class. So you can understand that what is the importance of wrapper class, or how much widely we use. Very rarely we used. Okay, same like SOSL also we use very rarely, and here same like wrapper class also. Okay, so now it's time to understand the code. I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to combine two heterogeneous, or let's say completely different data together. Let's say one data coming from account, and let's say one data coming from let's say some one data, let's say boolean value, etc. This kind of combination Now tell me that suppose uh, you remember the example of collection. Just 1 minute, I will show you one more thing. It will become very easy for you now to again understand. Custom control code to show you. Custom controller code. Just give 1 second. Then it will be very easy for you to understand that. Hmm. So you remember we have taken this topic. You remember that we have seen this topic. Remember showing the table using query. You remember that? Yes, good. Now this we have seen in the topic called as custom controller. Okay. So just see here for this table, what is the source? What is the source for this table? Please tell me what is the source for this table? Very good. No. Tell me the variable. Tell me the variable. There is a variable which is the source of data. What is that variable? Which is collection? Yeah, very good. This is the variable. This is the collection where all the data is coming. Very good. And this is coming from where? This is coming from where? Here. Correct? Everyone clear? Everyone clear? Now I'm asking, give me the account record, contact record also here, but also do one thing. Apart from that, give me some additional one small change you do, just not big, just one small change you do. You please do one thing. Give me one, give me one integer data also with this query. With this query, please give me integer data also, so that contact list will contain integer data also. Is it possible? Is it possible? Along with this data, I'm asking you, give me one more value in this contact list, that is integer, and such data, one integer, one string, and then this results combined together, and please give me such kind of data. Is it possible? Very good. It's not possible because here this collection is directly combined with this table, and whatever information you're passing, that will be automatically processed. So even adding a small value like integer also not possible. So you can clearly understand what a big limitation right now we are having when we don't use wrapper class. Even though the scope is not regular, but still there is a problem. Okay. So now let me show you how we can do this kind of activity using wrapper class. Let us see the code of wrapper class. Very useful, very useful code for understanding how actually we can do the things better. So see here, this is an example of wrapper class. See, this is the example of wrapper class. This is output. This is my output. Okay. Now here, this table is showing this data from account object, this data from account object, and some checkboxes. Do you think it is possible you can add any kind of checkbox or something like data from in a query of account object? You can add some kind of data. Do you think it's possible? No. So it is possible by wrapper class. Okay. How this code is written? Let us see. Now you can add some kind of fields of account, some fields of contact, one integer variable, one string variable, one boolean variable. This is boolean variable. So this kind of mixing of data only possible by wrapper class. Let us see a very useful code for your interview. See now here. First of all, I'm writing the Visual Force page. Pay attention. I'm explaining word by word everything. Okay, pay attention. So line number 1, I'm saying that this apex class is a kind of controller type and it's dependent on the function sample123. Tab style account, it's because because the data I'm using for account. So when you use tab style equal to account, what it will do, it will give you the output on the base of, like, it will show under account tab. This is the benefit. Okay, that's it. This is the benefit. It will give you the output under account. So because my data is related to accounts, I'm showing that. This is optional. You can skip this also, not a problem. Skip this, and quick save. Oh, wait, let me save it. Quick save and preview. You got the difference? You got the difference? minute guys, 1 minute. Huh. So let me see. Yeah, correct. So you can see now it's not coming under account, it's in like a normal look and feel. Okay, that is the main difference between that. Let me now undo this. So undo, tab style account, click save, and now you preview this and see the look and feel completely changed. Let the page get loaded, and now it will load. Now see here. Okay, this is the difference. This you can use optional. If you skip, that's also fine. Next, line number 2, nothing to mention. Line number 3, apex page message. This is something actually, the page message is something if you want to show some kind of message on your on your visual force page. Okay, so this is something, a kind of you want to give any kind of error message or something like that on your visual force page, then you can use this. So I will do one thing. This is also one good topic which I can take as an bonus topics. I just do one thing. I'll just try to record this video in future. Let's see, and I will just send it to you. This is also a good topic to show message on visual force page as an error. So right now it's not needed, so leave it. Then page block, just any kind of id, just this all thing. Page block section, page block table, so and the data is coming from the list wrapper. What is list wrapper? Wait for that, we'll see that. This is some kind of collection, but not a normal collection, not a s object collection. It's a hybrid collection. Otherwise, generally we have collection like this: list of account. This is a normal collection. S object collection. This is a hybrid collection. You will see that what is the meaning of that. I'll show you later. But this also, temporary variable to process the data. And then I'm creating one column that also that we've seen already. In that I'm using the column. In one column I'm using, so this is one column. In that column I'm using the input checkbox field. And one more, by the way, use case. Whenever you want to have any kind of check uncheck on your table like this. Okay, this is also one use case. Let me just write here in your notes also. This is also one use case where we use wrapper class. When we want to have check box on table to select some records and perform some action, we can use wrapper class, because there is no way you can show the checkbox with the SQL query where your type is just a kind of list of any kind of S object. It's impossible to push something more than that. So in such cases also we use wrapper class only. So let me go back. Okay, so where is that? Checkbox. I'm using checkbox, and the value is coming from this A. Okay, so there is a variable called as check bool. Now this variable is coming from wrapper class. I'll show you that. The next column. Now this is simple. Now there is an a.acc.name, that is I'm trying to access the account records. This also I'm going to explain again, and then page block close, section close, page block close, form close, page close. Okay. Now the interesting thing is to see what is this list wrapper, because everything is coming from that. See now here, where is my apex class? This is list wrapper. First of all, we are going to declare one list wrapper, and this list wrapper is of type what? Is of type of this. So the list is of type of another class, which is a wrapper class, which is a very interesting thing here. Generally we write here account, contact, opportunity, pen, book, or any kind of custom object. Instead of that, you are creating the variable of this entire class. Okay, this is a wrapper class. So first of all, you create a list of a wrapper class. What list? Or what is the wrapper class? This is the wrapper class. In this, I'm saying this class can contain this type of variable, boolean type of variable with the name check bool, this type of records which is called as account records. And now this is what? You tell me, what is this? What is this? We already discussed this in the previous sessions. The function with the same name like a class name. Yeah, very good. This is the constructor. Okay, we already discussed this. If you don't remember, see the topic called as extension. We already discussed about this. Those who gave the answer, very good. So here I'm just creating a constructor where I'm just instantiating this, or let's say initiating this account record. Just I'm going to declare some kind of account record. Just I'm initiating that, nothing else. Just this initialization activity. Okay, that's it. Very simple. Now this is my Apex class. So what I'm doing now, I'm making one query on the account object. This is simple. I'm making account object query. I'm saying that I want all those accounts where we have name, industry, like whatever the values are coming. Please give me that and limit 1000, for example. If this account is having records, if we have value in this query, then please do one thing, create the instance or create the or complete this record. See, list of this is a variable list wrapper, and then I'm creating the instance, means I'm initializing that, and I'm saying if you combine this, you see here, this is just variable declaration. Let me just mention here. Variable declaration. And can you please tell me then what is this? What is this called as? Creating the, so this is like, this is a variable declaration list wrapper, and creating or let's say instance of the variable list wrapper instantiation, you can also see. Okay, so now if you combine, it's same like this is same like your collection topic you are seeing. This is same like, is that clear? Everyone clear? So just we are dividing, because we always declare something at the top and we start using that at the bottom. So everyone clear? This is same like this line which we have seen many times in the collection topic. Okay, this is the type, and we can remove the public also. Same like the type variable, and where is that? I think something like cut and paste. Just 1 minute. Copy and paste. Now it's right. So this is same like this. Okay, so I'm creating, like, first of all a collection, then giving the name of the collection, then new, and that's it. Same like we have seen in the list. Okay, same like this. Next, now here next, what I'm doing now, so I'm, if the size of this list of the account, whatever query I'm firing, is more than 0, then come here and one by one in the list wrapper, the collection, add the instance of A. So this is slightly tricky. Now this line number 16 is the most tricky line, I would say, in the entire code. Other things are pretty much straightforward. Line number 16. Here what I'm doing, this is a technique by which we can dynamically create the record of this or instance or variable of this class and then push into this collection. So what I'm doing, I'm saying that do one thing, create a new record of this wrapper class, that is variable, and in that variable you pass A. Okay, so what will happen, whatever data actually we are passing will be automatically created, and then right now the wrapper class list is like this, empty. Now what will happen, and let's say the account record that I got is A1, A2. Okay, let's say I got only 2 records, for example. I got, if I made account query, I got A1, I got A2. I got only these two things. Okay, so what will happen now as soon as I come to this? Okay, so what will happen? I'm creating, do one thing, I'm passing the current A record. Please push this here. Second, I'm passing the current A record. Please push this here. So this way, your account information will go to the wrapper class and your wrapper class will be ready. And this wrapper class will be coming to the Visual Force page, which you can see here at the top of the table. Here, the wrapper class collection all is coming here, and that data will be displayed here like this will be displayed like, let me click on preview. This, okay, where if you see, we are creating a boolean variable for the checkbox only understands the language of true false, so this we are boolean given, and then by default it's false, and then we are creating the instance of this account by passing the one by one whatever records we are getting, and that's it. This is called as wrapper class. Tell me, everyone clear? Any questions, any queries? Any questions, any queries? And I'm going to tell you one assignment for you. Your assignment will be, you need to actually show a wrapper class on contact object and show the table of the contact object records, and then one checkbox, what is the trademark of wrapper class. Do you think you can do this? A wrapper class with one checkbox and the records of contact object. Great, fantastic, good to see that almost everyone is saying that's possible. Fantastic. So do that, and any help needed, I'm just one mail away, not a problem. This is wrapper class. Okay, it's a very important topic. Let me just copy here so that I can just add into your notes. So this is your wrapper class code, and apex class copy, and apex class here. Yeah, and by the way, right now here these checkboxes are having no logic. Okay, then you can write some kind of logic, and you can just give here any kind of button, and then you can pass any kind of id by this checkbox. You can do lots of things by that. As of now, there is no logic written, so nothing will happen on the checkbox. You need to write lots of logic after that, okay, to perform something on the click of checkbox. Okay, so now let's see the next point. So guys, if they ask you any kind of question, explain me what is wrapper class, explain me what is view state, explain me what is the meaning of the, let's say, explain me what is the benefit of, uh, let's say test setup, or let's say explain me why to use test visible annotation. Do you think you can answer these questions in the interview? Fantastic. Good. Even if you explain or give one or two lines, that's it. No one is going to the much detail of that. That only your one or two initial statements, how much confidently you are giving the answer, that's it. They are going to stop there and go to next question. Okay. This way we are trying to cover more and more interview questions as much as we can in the specific time period we are having. Okay. Next, and now one more thing we are going to see. So please note that here, whenever actually we are going to see any kind of real time, let's say I'm going to explain you like how we actually work in the real time project, how the Salesforce projects works. So pay attention. So please note that like we are going to show some kind of pages, so let's say some kind of functionality. So let me just show you that. Just give 1 second. Just going to show you that file. So there are some documents which I have taken from my customer. Just give 1 second, and then we will be proceeding to last point. Just give 1 second. Where is that document? Just one minute. Just checking my email. I got it. Okay, so let me just download that, and let me just download and show you that. So here we go. Okay, so see, I'm going to tell you especially how like those important documents which we guys use in the company. Okay, now this kind of documents, this kind of information generally no one in the market try to reveal, or in fact like no trainer is going to discuss about this and all. But here I know that if they ask you in the interview that how you used to work in your project, or what kind of format you used to follow, then you should have answers for that also. You already have the answer to explain your project. We discussed about the 20 plus point. You already have the answer about explaining your project scenarios, that also we discussed. And technical things already we have taken in the training program. But if they ask you like how actually you used to plan your project, or let's say how you are going to, how you're used to get the data from customer, etc., etc., then this information should be known to you. So I'll tell you how actually we guys work, or we are working in this industry, or almost all the people. What actually we do at the beginning of the project, we go with this kind of document, okay, which you don't need to create. First of all, you don't take the headache of this. This is not your area. Your BA will create this, business analyst, and he will contain every information here. For example, which profile, what kind of access should be given, or let's say what, how many roles we are having, admin, let's say regional manager role, or default role, or description, or let's say what kind of tabs should be shown, or let's say what kind of page layout should be given, and who will be having access to what page layout. So everything will be taken by your let's say business analyst, and he will be taking all this user information. So who is the user, what is the name, last name, and who is the manager, everything will be here. What is the status of user, everything will be first of all coming, what should be on the home page, what you want to show on the home page, and etc. So this all information first of all we get from the business. We spend many months of time in these initial things only if the project is very big. Otherwise 1 month is sufficient. Okay, this way first of all we collect all the data, page layout thing, everything we'll collect here, who will have what kind of access. Okay, everything will be done like this. But this is not our area, we don't do this, the business analyst will do this. What kind of roles are there, everything, then you read this document, and then according to that create the roles or profiles or permission sets. This way you get the base data in terms of security, all these things. This is one initial stage which we do. Next, after that, if you are actually a senior level person, if you are a senior level person and you project yourself like a kind of 5 6 years 7 years of senior level person in Salesforce, at that time then you may need some kind of document like this, which I'm going to show you the next document. So so here, this is the functional specification, or functional requirement specification document, where if you are a senior person, then you are going to collect all the information from customer like this, and write the details or requirements from customer. But for that you should be a very senior person. Otherwise you're a junior person, 2 3 years you're showing in Salesforce, then don't need to worry. Okay, so by reading this requirement document also, we need to work on various things in Salesforce. We can just see here what is the security information, what is the background, like everything like will be documented like a requirement document. You need to read these documents, and according to that you need to also perform and implement the functionality. This is also one more important thing we do, but not to be done, only to be seen. Okay, like because your senior will do this, who is going to perform this activity. And apart from that, one more document which we guys use, I'll just show you that one also. Now see here, anyone in this session, if you are having around 10 approximately years in your any career, then I would advise you, you can also target to become a project manager in Salesforce. You will not have any headache like doing the programming and all these things. You know how to do programming, you know how to do triggers. So focus on becoming team leader, project manager. And in that case, you need such kind of documents, such kind of planning, where you can do resource planning. For example, resource one, let's say your first employee, now how what is the allocation to be done, and second employee allocation to be done, etc. And this kind of data we generally write to in Salesforce. I'm working closely with project manager, so I have the access for such kind of documents. So we can also have various such kind of plannings you can do. And you can also plan your all tasks, like which task should be done how many days, and when you want to complete this, you can mention deadline. So this was this kind of groups of tasks you can mention. So this all activity should be in 3.3 days, 3.2 days. So when the projects of Salesforce are of very limited time, 60 days, 70 days, in this case you need to do all this counting, okay? Because depending on your hours, they will pay the money. 1 hour this much money, 2 hour double money, 3 hour triple money, like this. So this also one more thing which we do in the real-time project. So I have done this kind of work in the past for a small team. There was only 1 or 2 employees and one manager. So I have seen this kind of things closely. So you have to do this kind of things uh, in your project. Apart from that, one more document which I will be telling you, which will be coming to the picture if anyone in this batch going to uh, work on any kind of such initial phase of the project. Okay, so which edition of Salesforce will give you what kind of feature it is mentioned here. This is a very useful document for you. This actually something tell you that in which feature what you can do. For example, if you can see here that, for example, Lightning App Builder is available in all the editions. And let's say, for example, you want to work on let's say, for example, let's say you want to have some kind of email integration with Gmail. Okay, you want to do that, then you need to make the payment here. So this kind of things are actually there, where actually you will understand. Let's say there is a new feature in Lightning Orders, Lightning Voice. By using voice also, we can do some kind of work in Salesforce. It's a very new thing in Salesforce. Now all these are paid here. So this way you can use this document when your project is new and understand in what edition, what kind of things are there, and how the billing is done. Everything you can see here. Very good document. We use that I can share with you. This I can share you. Uh, for your future understanding. And anyone actually is from testing background, you can also project yourself like a kind of tester, QA. So you have very good knowledge by this time about Salesforce. So you can also have like a testing activity in Salesforce, and for that you can do this kind of thing. Let me just show you. Anyone coming from testing background, see this we do actually. And by the way, not only testing background but also okay, you are from testing background, good. Even testing background and even developers, we have to do UAT also. UAT means the testing things which is to be done by customer, but also you also should have idea, developers, because you are going to do unit testing. You should know your all things, what areas to test in your code. So this way you need to create the document checklist, and this is to be done by BA, or this can be used by testing guys also. This kind of documents also we can use. Okay, so you can, now what you came to know by this all the things, that we have the functional requirement document by which we actually understand how the project requirements are specified, we have the user, like the user information, profile, role, page layout assignment, or let's say role assignment or user assignment. All the setup is documented by BA that we use, and we have a UAT checklist, or we have testing checklist by which we do our testing information. And this way you can explain all these things easily in your interview, and hardly 1 or 2 minutes, and that's it. They are going to then go to next topic, because by just understanding that, yes, you really have information about these things, then they will be proceeding to the next level. Okay, so I think we are done, and it's pretty much late now, so now we can move to the next level. So now guys, before proceeding to that, so just give 1 minute. I need some kind of help from your side. Just 1 minute. uh, just give 1 second. Okay, so can you please do one thing? uh, just 1 minute. Where is it? So can you please do one thing? Just Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. If it is helpful for you, then definitely I can do that. And by the way, please note, guys, even though the journey is completed, but please note, it doesn't mean that you need to stop asking me any kind of help or any kind of question. Keep asking the question, and whenever in future I'm going to have any kind of, let's say, any kind of such topic, or let's say some kind of bonus topic, etc., I will be informing you. And also in future I may have some kind of lightning free topics, etc., to explain you something about lightning things, or etc., some kind of free sessions, etc. At that time also I will be informing you. So yes, just let me know whatever help you need, and in terms of your preparation also, any kind of preparation you need to do for your uh, any kind of preparation you want to do for your certification or interview, then also you can contact me anytime, no problem. This journey is going to be long term, so not a problem. And now just give 1 minute. I need just one input, so 1 minute. Okay, so now everyone please do one small. Yes, I will be helping you for placement also. Just now, I'm just waiting for your resume. Some people already started giving me resume, so their resume is forwarded to placement team. Very soon, you are going to get now the interview calls or opportunities. And apart from that, whatever videos or whatever documents I said that I will be sending today or tomorrow, and everything will be that. So whatever topics are pending, everything is in the video. I will be mailing you that. Okay. And anyone is planning certification, anyone is planning interview, just keep me asking. And please send your resume if you are looking for a job.